Follow Helen Paul and I, Frank Donga.
You forgot your show notes inside.
Can you imagine? That's what I'm looking for.
Over the last 3 years, we have traveled through the hills and the valleys of Nigeria.
I've seen people combine their coleslaw with ofada rice and pomo before.
Say what?
As we uncover the untold stories of food heroes on the front lines.
There's no planting season for us. We produce here every week.
Connecting them to untapped opportunities and the experts who can solve their problems.
We advise farmers to top dress with urea at the rate of 90 kilograms per hectare.
For a very long time, I think we neglected farming in Nigeria.
We provide loan to these farmers, and then we've been working with them for like over 10 years now.
So anybody can participate in agriculture.
This is Farm and Fortune. Like most farmers, Dipo started his farm with his savings and personal resources. Will his personal resources finance the kind of growth he desires? What options are available to him?
I started totally with personal funds. I had to move things around to buy my first piece of land. Bought my first 17 acres in Ijebu, where my cattle are. My name is Dipo Odushola. I'm a livestock farmer. My background wasn't always agri, but I've always known I was going to retire onto a farm somewhere. So we started as a feedlot last year May, and gradually we stumbled upon white gold, which we call it dairy. We've had to realign our goals to say, instead of beef production, we want a future where we will do more of dairy than beef. Bottom line, I'm not an open grazing person, so I've always believed our cattle are supposed to be kept intensively, feed them, bring food to them, and all the works. At that point, cultivating 300 acres of maize is a lot of money. It hasn't been that easy from day one. And we grew to a point where we needed to, I knew I had to either get partnership in bringing investors or sort government-assisted programs.
Hello there, I'm Frank Donga.
And I'm Helen Paul, and you're still watching Farm and Fortune. On today's show, we're looking at attracting investments for your agribusiness and what you need to put in place internally for this to happen.
What's happened? No joke today.
I'm not joking.
Somebody offended you?
Not really. Everything in my mind right now is seriousness. I have so much to share, and I know people are ready to learn.
Yeah. See, if you want to learn today, you will learn. If you want to laugh, Seth, you will laugh. If you want to do both, you are free. Go ahead.
Strap up, get a drink, and it's show time again.
Before we go back to Mr. Odushola's story, let's see how he's faring on the fortune board.
If you're new to this, the fortune board is where we, give scores, our farmers, based on some factors, We score them just like we're doing exams.
But the first factor we consider is the magnitude of the challenge. See, for this particular one, I'm going to give him a value of 10. That's because it's a happy problem that he has. He started something and just needs to scale it up.
If I'm to score the man for farmer attitude, I would give 15.
15?
Yes, 15.
Upon 20?
I want to answer you because I know you're just being selfish with your mark.
It's okay.
Let's see what Mr. Odushola, does next.
Every farmer desires access to finance, but only few eventually get it. Did Dipo eventually access the funds he needed to scale? What did he do to attract and get funding?
Why were we farming crops? I thought if we were going to raise money, the easiest thing for us was to kill two birds with one stone. Farm crops, sell to make profit, and at the same time have food for our cattle. So at that point, I had to look inwards and got private funding. And at the same time, I actually ran the processes in parallel. I was looking for private investors, and I was looking to tap into government initiatives. Unfortunately, the private investor part materialized faster. For the government initiatives, I reached out first to CBN, and they pointed me to NISRA, if I'm pronouncing it right. So I reached out, and they pointed us in the right direction up to the commercial bank we ought to be talking to. So on the part of NISRA, they were willing to, after vetting us, they were willing to work with us hand in hand into the commercial bank, follow us all through the way. But unfortunately, the process didn't move enough with the time for us. I wanted to capitalize on this year's rainy season. So what we're doing with the government initiative is we're still in discussions with them, right? But not for this year. Obviously not for this year. So hopefully before next year's planting season, we would have gained a lot of traction with them and probably gotten funding before that time. For us, the most importantly was all our documentations were supposed to be right. The company was incorporated first. So, we put in place all necessary regulatory requirements. I have a team of 17 people, so we didn't overlook anything. Up to taxes, we had everything in place right from day one. So when we approached private investors, we had a business plan that we could present to our private investors. Even though we were relatively young in the business, we had a track record that we had put in place over a short period of time because we were trading from day one and we could articulate where we wanted to be in the future. So it was easy to get private investors for our crop, especially the maize project. We were not over-promising. We were very realistic in our approach, and it made it a lot easier.
It's time to bring in our guest on this episode of Farm&Fortune. Join me and welcome Mr. Ayodele Balogun. Mr. Ayodele Balogun is an agricultural consultant with over 27 years experience in the game. Welcome, sir. From your experience in agribusiness, please, sir, can you tell us how smallholder farmers can make themselves attractive for investment and funding?
So actually, what I'd say is that from a perspective of investment, the agribusiness is not different fundamentally on principle to other businesses. So effectively, we say, well, how can the smallholder farmer make himself attractive? It's the same, you could say, to any other business. If it's an investment, you're looking for returns at the end of the investment. So it means you're looking into the future. If you're investing in a business and you're saying, well, the business can deliver enough to cover the returns I expect from the business. So it means the first thing the smallholder farmer needs to be able to supply to the prospective investor is the high probability of being able to meet the returns that the investor requires. And how is the smallholder farmer going to give such guarantees? Well, in an investment of this nature, we know the investor knows that he's taking a risk, but the smallholder farmer needs to know exactly what his business is, needs to show that he knows what his business is, needs to believe in his business and the possibility of his business to grow. So effectively, he needs to know, he needs to be able to show that he knows, and he needs to believe in the growth of a business. If he's able to demonstrate those, it's very likely that the investor is attracted to him.
Thank you very much, sir. So let's break it down a little bit before we move on to another question. In knowing that he knows,
so to say. What parameters are important to show that you know to an investor? What documentation or physical things do you have to show?
So the first is to know. And to know means that you understand all of the parts of the business. And the parts of the business, if we want to simplify it, you can say there are two parts to the business. There's the part that I'd call the technical parts. So those are the parts that show you that you have processes in place to get the outputs that you require and right level of outputs, because productivity is important in this game. So you've got all of the processes in place, and you've got all of the documentation to show those processes, okay? That you've got the processes. The other part is the reporting of it. So the accounting, if I use a more traditional word. So effectively, you must have visibility over your processes. So when you have visibility as a farmer, then it means it's easy to show a third party what's going on. So if it's transparent as possible, the more transparent it is, the easier it is to show a third party what you're doing. So you know it, you've put in processes to show that you know it, and the discipline to do it, and then you made it transparent, and you're accounting for all the parts of the processes in such a way that the third party, an investor, for example, you can show, because you're reporting, your accounting, all of those are above board and well documented. Then it's easier to show that you know. So you show that you know with the processes, you show that you know with the processes, that you know what you're doing, and you're able to show people by your reporting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick break and show you some DIY hacks. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to the DIY segment. Today, I'll show you a quick way to create a business plan for your agribusiness using templates you can find online. Visit www.hubsports.com, www.bplans.com, or www.plan.planbuilder.com. Explore available templates and download the one relatable to your agribusiness. Sit back, edit, and customize the plan to suit your business needs and realities. And that's our hack for today. See you next week.
Welcome back from that DIY segment. I'm sure you learned one or two important things there. Right here in the studio with us, we still have our special guest, an agricultural consultant of over 27 years experience, Mr. Ayodele Balogun. He's with us and has been sharing important facts and figures and tips for agribusinesses to get financing, funding, investment, and all that. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Briefly, before we proceed to one important question I want to ask you about Mr. Odushola, our farmer there. I want you to quickly break down business plan, business proposal, differentiate between business plan and business proposal. What are the similarities or differences so that our farmer can know that?
Well, I guess a business proposal is a proposal of a business to an investor. I mean, that's what I imagine. And the proposal will have a business plan. And the business plan, which is an important part of the proposal, is a plan of what the business intends to achieve in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years, in 5 years. So when we talk about a business plan, it's the set of activities to deliver the results that the individual or the organization is looking to achieve at the end of the year or at the end of a period that's defined. So that's a business plan, and you can imagine that that's important to an investor. But a proposal to an investor is now based on the business plan, because a proposal to an investor is saying that, well, here's what I think I'm going to do. In fact, here's what I plan to do. Because I've planned to do this, I'm asking you to invest, because of course in the business plan also you'll see that there's a shortage of resources and the shortage of resources needs to be funded. So I'm saying, well, I'm asking you as the investor to help me bridge either some or the totality of the shortage that I have. So I'm saying, well, do that and I will give you a particular return. So that's a proposal.
If I were to put it in my words, to summarize what you just said now, maybe street language, I would say business plan, like you said, is simply what I'm planning to do to make profits.
Correct.
Proposal is what I'm planning to do to make profits and what I want you to bring to join to it so that I can give you this.
That's correct.
Thank you.
That's correct.
My teacher will be proud of me.
I'm sure he will.
You saw our documentary earlier about our farmer, Mr. Odushola. What do you think about his processes?
So Mr. Odushola has a dairy farm, if I remember correctly. He's got a dairy farm that he's just started. He's slightly behind the curve with respect to the cows that he's going to put on the farm. Because, well, since it's a dairy farm, he's interested in milk. And the technical part of his job is that cows that can produce that in cold climes are different to cows that can produce that in warm climes. So he needs to find the cow that can give him the best yield. That's a journey. That's a process that requires a lot of support, technical support. Mr. Odushola won't be able to do it on his own. He's going to need to look for partners that can offer him assistance. Partners that can either help with money because they like what he's doing, and because fortunately for him, he's not doing anything novel with respect to the fundamentals. The product that comes out of the fundamental might be novel, but the processes that are required to do that are not novel. So he needs partnership to be able to get to them.
So how would you rate him or score him over 40 in terms of access to resources?
At his present state, I'd say he's probably around 28, 29.
If you were to pick one figure, what would you do?
I'll pick 29.
So how would you rate him over 20 in terms of growth potential?
Out of 20, I'd be giving him 15.
Wow. That's some strong A right there. Strong A. If I had to go out on a limb or put you out on a limb and say, I mean, we've given him some scores earlier on some other parameters, difficulty of the problem, farmer attitude, and plus these other two factors, over 100, and from 0 to 100. If we add everything together for Mr. Odushola, what do you think he's going to score?
Okay, so the farmer attitude is difficult for me to judge.
We have already judged that.
The documentary. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have judged that already.
If I assume what you judged, I'd say 70, 75.
Should I go with the lower or the higher percentile?
Okay, take the higher one.
Okay, 75 it is. All right, let's check out what Mr. Odushola scores on our Fortune score on the Fortune board. Well, not too bad. It was close. Mr. Odushola had 69.
I was close.
That's a very powerful beat. That's like just one step before. But that's still good, considering the fact it's in a novel kind of enterprise. There is a pretty tricky enterprise to play in.
It is.
Very technical. Once again, Mr. Ayodele Balogun, I need to thank you so much. 27 years agricultural consulting in agribusiness. It's not a joke. I mean, you've seen all sorts of people, come and go and businesses. I must thank you for coming to the show to share your knowledge.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making time out for us. I wish you all the very best in your agricultural endeavors in the future.
Thank you.
All right. That was Mr. Balogun discussing with us on funding, investments in agribusiness, and how to set your records and your books right and make yourself attractive. Don't go anywhere yet. We'll take a moment right now to join Helen on Secrets of the Soil. We'll be right back.
Today we do 30 to 40 liters of, on the average, 30 liters of dairy daily. Mainly because we are still working with local breeds now, and our local cattle are not known to be efficient dairy cattle. Part of what we need to do is either get cattle that are dairy focused, or improve our herd and grow our own dairy-centric cattle using technology or outrightly buying cattle that will give us more dairy yield. The strategy was to grow the business organically. We're not in a rush to get to promised land, in quote. So I had to position the business so that it will self-fund itself.
Welcome. It's still Farm and Fortune, and this segment is Secrets of the Soil. We have our soil experts in person of Mr. Babajide Ahmed Lawal. Good to have you.
Thank you very much.
I love the fact that you tell us secrets of different soils each season and episode. Thank you. But today, what secrets and what soil are you unveiling to us?
Okay. Today, we're looking at the soil from Jos North, Plateau State, Nigeria.
Okay.
The crop grown here is maize.
Maize.
Now, let's look at the fertility status from the soil.
Okay.
Now, from the fertility status, we can see that the pH is 4.9, which is very low. Major nutrient elements required by maize for growth and development are phosphorus, and is very low. Exchangeable calcium, potassium is very low. Calcium is also very low. The magnesium is very low. Also, now let's look at the nitrogen, 0.08, which is very low. In addition to the macronutrients which are required by the plant, we also have to look at the micronutrients. Now let's look at the boron. The boron is less than 0.5, which is very low. The zinc is 1.4, which is low. And also the copper is less than 1, which is very low. Having seen the fertility status of this soil from Jos North, what are the recommendations? The farmers are to apply lime, dolomitic lime. These are limes that contain calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate.
Okay.
They are to apply 1,000 kg per hectare,
Okay.
or 20 bags or 50 kg of this lime at 2 months before planting or after harvest. This should be mixed well with the soil. In addition, you have to apply NPK. Maize require high amount of NPK. These NPK are 15, 15, 15. This is 320 kg per hectare or 6.4 bags or 50 kg of NPK. This should be applied at planting. In addition, again, to boost the nitrogen content in the soil, the farmers are to apply urea. The urea will be applied in split dosage. The first one will be applied 30 days after crop emergence. Is equivalent to 40 kg per hectare, which is equivalent to 0.8 bags or 50 kg of urea.
0.8 bags of 50 kg
of urea. In addition, again, the farmer are to apply another urea, which is 50 kg per hectare or 1 bag of 50 kg of that urea. This second application should be 45 days after crop emergence. If the farmers follow this recommendation, what they are getting now will increase to about 4.0 tons per hectare.
Fantastic. Have you heard? I've learned, and I know you've learned. It's still Farm and Fortune, and right now we're throwing it to the banter. Let's go. It's still Farm and Fortune, and of course, welcome to Banter. I want to help my guests get investments today, but they must show me they are ready. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let me introduce you to our guests. We have Mr. Adedara Sunday and Mr. Elijah Emmanuel in the studio with us. But before we go to the game, I want to ask, please, what advice do you have for farmers?
Thank you so much. As a farmer, I can just advise them to be current, because with the advancement of the technology these days, it will help a lot.
So you believe so much in technology?
Yeah.
Great. Can you please expatiate, or what do you think about this technology?
Yes, I agree with what he said. And it's not enough to have technology. You must also make sure you have the right, you must also make sure you know how to use it, so that the investment on technology will not be a waste. But with technology, can also improve your output, which will lead to more profits for the farmers.
Okay.
So it's spot on with that.
Okay, so it's not just about knowing it. Application is key. Thank you so much. Here is how the game will go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Great. The participants have 45 seconds to fill in the missing cards, to give the correct words. The words have to do with agricultural investments. The first person to fill the most words or all the words gets the prize today. Are you ready?
Yes.
Your game starts now. It's getting serious. It's getting serious. Let's go. Fix the words. Fix the words. Oh my goodness. Let's go. What is missing? Wow. Let's go. Fantastic. Fantastic. Emmanuel is doing well. Adegdara is also doing very well. Who will be the first today? It's still Farm&Fortune. We are having it going on. It's very hard. It's very perilous. We don't know the winner. Stop. Welcome back. It's still Farm&Fortune, the game segment Banter. We're about to call the winner. Who is the winner? We're meant to get words, agricultural investment words. We're expecting the following: goal, business, farmer, capital, growth, investor. Mr. Sunday, did you give our words?
No, only one. Capital.
Only one. Capital. Well, everyone is still a winner. Good. Mr. Emmanuel, how many words do you have?
2.
We have
Goal and business.
And business. You must really love business. Everyone is a winner on Farm&Fortune, but the winner today is no other person than Mr. Emmanuel. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
Seriously, I'm so proud and I'm so happy about this.
You're happy?
Because very, very happy.
Thank you very much. It's still Farm&Fortune. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to close the curtains for today.
In fact, I've learned so much, and I hope you too will apply all you've learned on Farm&Fortune today to your agric business. It's very necessary.
And you know that farming itself, as well as the farming business, is a very painstaking process. It needs a lot of patience. So you need to be patient when you do all these things.
Patience is key. But sincerely speaking, don't forget that agric business is a big deal. You will make money if you apply all we're teaching you on Farm&Fortune. It's a big easel.
Last, your patience go pay.
It will pay.
All right, guys. See you next week.
See you next week.
Which one do
Episode
you use? Which one do
issue. Is it UK you pronounce EU? US you pronounce issue.
Fell EU.
Nigeria you pronounce EU.
So it's a big EU.
The big EU.
Fell EU. I talk EU. Big EU.
It's a big ish.
No problem.
Some people say ish.
Ish.
Yeah, if you are rich or famous, you say ish. It's a big ish.
You're putting prayer on me.